And we are live.
What's
Hello,
up?
everybody.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen?
Hello.
And people who do not self-identify.
Gentlemen?
Hello.
And people who do not self-identify. Whoa.
Sorry. Forgot to hit the mute button.
Oh, Lord. Who are these people that self-event? Man, is it? Are we live?
We are live.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. There it is. Okay, so what's on the plate tonight, Jonathan?
So I figured we are going to go ahead and talk about, since last week we didn't talk about it, but Drukhari and the Deepkin that actually just came out this past weekend, and the Deepkin and the Drukhari codex. Basically going over 3 different point of views from us. So me as a player, and just played my first game this past Saturday on the live show that we had with Drukhari. It was a lot of fun. And point of view from TJ, who actually played against said Drukhari, who thoroughly enjoyed his game. And then the point of view of Alan, who is now rebuilding his whole Drukhari force and what he's going to be looking at. And his concerns. Because he has concerns.
Yeah, I think everyone does.
So who do you want to start off with? Do you want to start off, Jonathan?
Yeah, I'll start off.
Okay.
Someone said I'm going for the Bieber look. No, I just didn't fix my hair. I took a shower.
I think you can go for the Bieber look.
I'm
gonna call him Jonathan Bieber.
Got the hair flick. I'll make a believer out of you.
Ooh.
All right. So really, from my point of view of playing the Drukhari, I kind of ran it. If you guys watched the live show, I ran it with the 2 Cabals. Well, technically 3. 2 Cabals and a witch, like cult. And so for the 3 different formations I brought, I did bring. It was about 30 Cabalite warriors, all in raiders, and all of them had. Yes, TJ. And all of them had splinter racks on them and everything else. So I ran it with the venom tongues, so I got to reroll my poison weapons of 1. Ran them with an Archon, so I can reroll my hits of 1. And then with the splinter racks, any rolls of a 6, instead of being 1 hit, turns to 2 hits. So it was really nasty combination. Now, my second formation was just a Archon. It was a patrol with an Archon and 5 Cabalite warriors. Kept it super cheap, and just kept him in the back. And he was actually my warlord. And running him as my warlord, I got to take the Black Heart warlord trait, which basically lets me steal any stratagem played on a 6. And then I also, with it, I get to utilize the stratagem of which costs 3 command points. But anytime my opponent plays a stratagem, I can play mine and try to deny it. Any roll of a 1, nothing happens. A 2 through 5, it denies his stratagem, but he gets to keep his command points spent. On a 6, he loses the stratagem and the command points. Not loses it permanently, but he loses the ability to utilize it for that go. And then the other part was really just to fill some points. It was just the Witch Cult of Strife, which gives me +1 attack to my profile. And that was, I really just brought a Succubus and 15 Breaver jet bikes. Oof. Each with a blaster in them. So, and I also put a blaster on each of those Cabalite squads. Also had a drop of Scourges. I know, dude, I can't stand something touching my forehead. TJ's making fun of me. I can't.
Because my Drukhari are so beautiful.
Fabulous. So fabulous.
My parents don't get me.
Oh God.
No, but dude, I can't stand something on my forehead. I'm not used to it. Anyway, so it was a pretty effective list. The last thing I brought for my fast attack, I did bring 2 flyers. I bought the Void Raven bomber and the Stingwing, whatever, the jet fighter one, and then I brought a unit of 5 Scourges, all with blasters, 4 blasters and blast pistols for that deep strike effectiveness. Worked really well in 7th. I don't know how well it was going to work here. In hindsight, after playing it from a lessons learned, it came in, did a job. It killed his dreadnought, but the amount of points that you're pumping into that squad can be better utilized for so many more things that can actually help you. And that's my opinion on the Scourges. They do fill a role, but however, when I did try close combat with them,
Awesome.
they don't do very well. And I had an agonizer in that squad, so I thought they would have done well. So I was wrong. But
really well.
But for 200 something points, it drops in and is probably going to die to close combat. Not really worth it. So, but other than that, I'm not going to give any spoilers, but those stratagems were utilized very well. And the sheer fact that I can sit here and just steal command points, you spend command point, get a 6. On a 6, I get one. Oh, I used one. On a 6, I get one. It's amazing. So I really enjoyed playing them. I'm excited because they were my second favorite army back in 7th, just for the sheer fact of how difficult they are to play. And you get really good at them because they're hard to play, and it makes you feel good when you win. So it's the same thing where they're still feeling they're a lot stronger now. However, they are still very paper airplaning, and they'll crumble. Anything that shoots on it was pretty much pick up models from TJ. It was taking stuff down. So that is my opinion. I am very happy with them. I'm excited to play more games and get some more battle reports with them on there. And I have Vect on his Raider. That's going to be my 3rd Ravager. Oh yeah, I brought two Ravagers too. Those are really important. Disintegrator cannons. That's what you got to bring. So, TJ, receiving it.
So, okay. So we'll start off with the list I brought. I was trying out the new FAQ. So we were doing the whole not being able to deep strike until 2nd turn and all the other stuff. So the list I was playing was a list I kind of want to bring to Alamo. So I wanted to give it a test run. I don't have a lot of my Custodes units finished that I think will really help strengthen the army. But so the whole thing is that I was playing Grey Knights, and Grey Knights right now, their strength has kind of been taken away without that first thing of Alpha Strike. So what Jonathan did is he stood back and shot me, put all this firepower into my Adeptus Custodes unit, and that was a waste because he shot everything in it. But I had a 3+ vulnerable save, and they just kept on taking it. I'm -1 to hit, so I lost 1, right?
Yeah.
I think I lost 1. So
it's painful.
Yeah, it was painful for Jonathan, but Jonathan didn't want to move. He didn't want to do anything. He the objectives we placed, he got the best deployment zone, so he set up really well, and he was waiting to see where I was going to deep strike.
Mm-hmm.
If I was going to deep strike 1st turn, he kind of had that on plan, and if I was going to deep strike 2nd turn, he wanted to lure me in and give me a couple spots to deep strike in. So, needless to say, it didn't go so hot for me. The sheer amount of firepower Drukhari can put down is absolutely mind-blowing. Like, literally just poison shots, just, taking Ravagers with disintegrator cannons is brutal. Tons of shots. You got the Void Bomber just coming in and just pretty much unloading on you.
Through that mortal wounds, that's huge.
It is.
Because I didn't get to mention. So the mortal wounds is actually done at the end of the movement. So you can even target a character because it's whatever you fly over, and at the end of movement, you can do mortal wounds on it by dropping your bomb. It's crazy.
Yeah. So needless to say, Jonathan, like in his Drukhari, I mean, it's not like he didn't play him stupidly. He was waiting. So, I mean, the things that I noticed, I think, of his list, I think the Scourges, they're good if you want to take out like one tank or something, if there's that one big thing at the end, maybe you're trying to get rid of, dropping in the Scourges is really good. But at the same time, he poured a ton of firepower and took out my Dreadnought, but my Dreadnought, actually he barely got it too because it had 7 wounds left and he only caused 7 wounds. So he almost survived. So if he would have survived, those Scourges would have been in the next turn because I would have just come over and flamed them all to death. Yeah. And I ended up charging him with my Grey Knight Apothecary with 1 wound left. And I killed what? Did I kill off like 3 before he finally died? Or something like that, Jonathan?
Yeah.
All right, no, I killed off the entire squad. And then you shot him off. And then you shot him, right? Or something like that. Whatever it was, I mean, they did their job by taking out the Dreadnought, but at the same time, after that 150 points or whatever you spent on them kind of went down the wayside pretty quick.
Well, that's because when I shot all those blasters into your Apothecary, I whiffed hard.
Yeah.
And you made your saves, I think.
No. I charged him in the next turn. You overwatched.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So I mean, Raiders. I mean, just your ability for the Raiders to just jump around and then unload 10 warriors and just unload. You didn't have to get your Cavalite warriors even out of the Raiders.
No, they even made that comment that basically they sat in there the entire game because I could shoot from it. Why would I get out?
Yeah. So, I mean, and just the ability to have taken the 2 different Calibite, the Covens, or not Covens, but, taking Blackheart and the other one, the one allows you to reroll wounds of 1. It's huge.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, honest to God, I mean, I don't see, like, just standard codex, like no mixing or anything. I think probably the 2 strongest codexes right now is probably Eldar and Drukhari. I mean, straight out of the box, I mean, just to being able to build a pretty brutal list. And with Drukhari, there's a couple bad units like Grotesque and some other things, but pretty much every single thing in that army is good. They all have some sort of crazy either stratagem or buff or something that can really help you out. So, I mean, I think, and they're so versatile, lots of shots. I don't see, unless the player just plays them like Space Marines and runs them up, I think they're going to be a pretty tough army. And then my list, I think with Grey Knights, that's just a bad matchup for Grey Knights in general.
I think one thing, though, that will give Drukhari a hard time is going to be Necrons. I know you say, Eldar, Craft Worlds and Drukhari are probably the 2 strongest lists, but really and truly, people they're not keeping their eye on Necrons. And, blasters, that blaster unit trying to shoot at anything with living metal, I think is what their special rule is. And basically, if they roll under your damage, it's negated. So even 4 blasters, you might be lucky if you shave off 2 wounds. That's because you rolled a 2 for damage.
Yeah.
So I think people really need to not sleep on Necrons. And I don't know if you guys talked about Necrons when they first originally dropped, but between Drukhari and Necrons and Eldar, I think those are probably the 3 probably hardest armies to play against. But the hardest army to play out of those 3 is going to be Drukhari. I think Necrons is kind of cookie cutter. It's It's I'm going to take this. You're guaranteed you're going to see this. If you play Necrons, you're guaranteed I'm going to have all this. Eldar, you're guaranteed you're going to have this. Drukhari, because of the stratagems, you'll be able to do basically whatever you want to do. You can really tailor a list, and that's what's been so hard for me. I was a Dark Eldar player. Back in 6th edition, 5th, 6th, and 7th. And I did recently trade off my Drukhari for another army. But that's what's that's what's really keeping me at bay from really building a list, because I just feel like there's so much you can do. And with the FAQ drop in conjunction with the Drukhari coming out, and really the sky's the limit for the army. It's a very hard army to play, just like Jonathan said at the beginning. Not anybody can play it. It's a lot like Death Watch. That's another army I play. Not everyone can play that army and play it well, just because there's so many different things you can do. They're so versatile. There's so many. Do I want to build it to do this? I can do that. Do I want to build it to do this? I can do that. If I want to do a run of the mill, I can do that. So I think it's going to be a learning curve for a lot of people. And it sounds like Jonathan learned a lot from y'all's game. Yeah, Scourges are expensive, but if you come in, Land Raiders gone. Anything basically with an armor value, it's going to be gone. I mean, you almost guarantee it's going to be destroyed. But
if you roll well enough, and that's the other part I forgot to mention. I didn't realize I had all this firepower, but pretty much after all of TJ's squishy units were gone, I realized when I was shooting at his was that your Grey Knight, Dread Knight?
Yeah.
Dread Knight, and had the vehicle rule keyword. Dude, that turned my 4s with rerolls into just 6s.
Really?
Yeah,
that's true.
Because they're poison weapons and they only hurt vehicles on a 6. And I was like, oh, all of a sudden those 20 rapid fire or 18 rapid fire shots didn't do too hot, and that one blaster became really important.
Yeah.
So that's something to consider, is basically once all them squishy units are dead, and if you build that list of cabals against heavy armor lists, you're going to have a tough time. The disintegrator cannons are good. However, strength 5 is going to struggle against toughness 7 and 8 and trying to take care of that.
Yeah.
So, and they're only 2 damage apiece. So you're getting a handful through with rerolls, and then you're only wounding on 5. So hopefully you can maybe get a couple. It's hard hitting AP, but it's the wound you as 5 becomes pretty low.
But I want to say thank you to Eduardo. He corrected me. I said living metal, but it's quantum shielding. That was a special rule for Necrons I was thinking of.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't understand that, some of these armies that are coming out now is we're looking at them and like, oh my God, this army is extremely disgusting. But really and truly, because of the FAQ, almost any army is currently playable until they find another loophole. Previously they found the loopholes, they exploit the loopholes. Everyone now is trying to scrounge to find the next hardcore list.
Yeah.
To go ahead, the list you're going to see. Before you saw Reaper spam, or before you saw, Reapers in conjunction with the jet bikes that they have, Shining Spears.
Shining Spears, yeah.
And then you had the Chaos, where it had the Alpha Legion, the Tide of Traitors. So once people find the next thing that's going to be broken, right now we're all kind of knee-jerk. We're like, wow, this army is really good. But then until someone finds something else that's going to supersede that, and then that will be the next thing that's going to have to be something that's going to have to be looked at in FAQ, and then that will be toned down. And I think it's just going to be a learning curve. But Drukhari, I would definitely agree. Looking at it, I keep my book by my bed. I do read it quite often. I think I think it's going to be a good army. It's going to be a good, solid army for a while, because it's not overly priced on everything, but it's not underpriced. I think the pricing is just about right. I don't see anything that's too major broken, except for maybe the command points farming. That's kind of it's kind of rough, especially armies that are super dependent on command points, and now they can't use them because you rolled a 2-5. You can't use that stratagem now. It's like, I need that stratagem right at that moment.
Yeah, that happened once.
Well, I had to reroll.
Oh yeah, and you rerolled a 6. Horrible.
Yeah, so I think that's just going to be, I think Dark Eldar is going to be the dark horse for a little while, because it's going to, especially army lists that are being tailored specifically for the command points. They're so needing those command points to play against Drukhari. I think those guys are going to shudder. I think they're going to be a little freaking out, a little scared, because they're going to lose them.
Oh yeah,
That's true.
I don't. Yeah, Drukhari. Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. It's just that's kind of the newest codex. I mean, but what you were saying about Necrons too, Alan. Like I need to build a Xenos army, so I was like looking at Eldar, and I don't want to do Drukhari because Jonathan's already got it, so that wouldn't be fun. But then I was looking at Eldar, and I was always thinking about Necrons, and just Necrons in general have just always been a. The problem with Necrons is I wanted to play something that wasn't like playing a Space Marine army, you know. And so Necrons, you know, are kind of stand back, shoot you, just tough as nails, you know, and just kind of mow through you eventually, kind of like, you know, Space Marines. So, but yeah, just Necrons in general. I want to play against Necrons and just see how tough they are because I played in an LVO versus an index list, you know, and it was tough as nails. But I don't know how. I mean, I knew the new codex came out, but I don't really know a lot of Necron players, so I'm actually kind of scared to play him.
I can tell you right now, my son is a Necron player. He is at Clutch City GT 2 years ago. He was the actual best Necron player that was there. Now, granted, there wasn't a lot of Necron players there, but he loves his Necron. He plays Necrons through and through. And if you really want to get a hard-fought game to list, he's talking about bringing to Alamo. I know we'll be up at Atomic Copies this weekend, and you can go ahead and get a game in if you want. It's rough. It really, really is rough.
Ooh. Yeah, Necrons are just scary. I just think it's just a hard list to counter because there's a ton of shots. Every single thing is tough as nails. You can get back up, especially with warriors and everything. You know, quantum shielding is brutal.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you just want to. You hope to dink it enough with 1 or 2 damage weapons, like for Jonathan, like your disintegrator cannons are going to be great because it's 2 damage, and the only way he's going to neglect it is rolling once. It's just getting enough wounds. So, but still, I mean, like you don't want to shoot las cannons at that. It's like a waste. Or with me, I can shoot las cannons. I'll roll a 1, 2, or 3 for wounds anyway. So likely, if rolling under that, will work out fine.
With that attitude, TJ, you sure will.
No, because what's going to happen is I'm going to be like, you know, I'm going to be like, I need to roll a 1 or 2, and I'll roll a 6. You know, so.
And see, I'm for Alamo. I've been working on a list, and I'm going to be bringing with Death Watch. I do have a unit that's got some Kami Meltas and some Meltas, but if I ever play against Necrons and there, guess where those Meltas are not going? I'm not going to go anywhere near that because it's just the likelihood, especially if you're within half range, to get that 2 dice and then you're going to roll high. It's just, oh, look, it's negated. It just, you know, folds into the armor. And it's like, you know what? No, I'll go shoot these puddly guys with some, you know, multi shots. Save my 1, 2 damage bolt guns and stuff like that for those. So,
yeah, I mean, Necrons, and then like I saw Tau playing up at the shop this weekend, and man, it's funny. Tau were playing Dark Angels, and they were both lined up and doing gun lines, and I'm like, this isn't even fair. The Dark Angels were just getting annihilated, and the Tau were just standing back and just like.
You know, people don't realize that even Tau. I mean, I'm not saying Tau is extremely powerful in 7th. You know, even when their codex first dropped, they were extremely powerful, and it took some nerfs in order to get them kind of back in line. They were a strong army when they first came out, and Cold Star is still a really still a good unit. You know, but luckily enough, we're not going to be seeing 4 to 6 of them. Now we'll see probably 3. You know, with the FAQ, but yeah, Tau will always be a good army, especially when GW doesn't put an emphasis or help offensive armies that excel in hand-to-hand combat, because the gun line is going to be the new norm. Even the Dark Angels player, he was playing a gun line. He's playing a gun line against the Tau gun line. I mean, he's going to get outshot. It's just going to happen. So it's kind of like a really unfortunate event for the game, because I'm a World Eater player. I've loved my World Eaters, but with the nerf to not be able to assault turn 1, you know, and stuff like that, it just makes it hard for someone like me to play an offensive army, because I know before I get there I'm gonna be dead. It takes away from the fun of the game, because you got, you know, some, you know, guy, girl, unknown gender behind me just rolling dice and laughing maniacally. Rolls dice, and my guys are dead. So it's just rough. Right now, it's rough to be an offensive, minded player, and gun lines are going to be the new norm.
Yeah.
I kind of seen it where the Drukhari are a little bit, they're a bit salty, bit shooty, depending on what you bring. And mine was a little mixture of the two, more towards shooty, obviously. And it wasn't really hard to just sit. I mean, it wasn't fun to sit for the turns, but it was smart. I needed to give a couple cubby holes where TJ would go or have to go. And then pretty much my whole army just was already there. So I just kind of shifted and just took out what deep struck and then assaulted what was left, So, it holds up a whole turn. But like TJ said, where I was deployed, I was good. I was getting 3 command points a turn just sitting there, So just kind of where I kind of just sat everybody. And plus I had the mobility to go grab stuff too. TJ, his poor guys are just shuffling across that board, just getting lit up. However, that's the first time I actually played against custodes. Those are rough. Like someone even commented on the live, like they just said like all that firepower just for one guy. Like I unleashed, I just everything into it with -3, 2 damage weapons, and TJ's like, oh, well they're one less to hit me, and then look at all these saves I make, and I was like, oh, this is good.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think the only way to really get around custodes, from what I've seen, is going to be really just 2 damage weapons that don't have any AP that are super cheap. I think that's going to be the best way to get around custodes. Or, I'm fortunate, I play Death Watch, so I'm wounding on 2s. So I'll shoot a bunch of bolt guns into you and make you take those 3-up saves, and you'll eventually fail. After so many. I mean, yeah, it's a lot to go through, especially they have, 3 wounds, right, TJ, apiece?
Yeah, they're 3 wounds apiece.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of stuff you got to devote to it. But I mean, they're the Emperor's bodyguard. They're their Emperor's personal army, so they're meant to be, the baddest of the baddest. So, but you're paying for them. That's the big thing.
Oh yeah, yeah. A squad of 3 is, God, how many points is a squad of 3? Because I armed them with storm shields just to because I wanted the 3-up save so they could take a lot more. Yeah, a squad of 3 is 177 points.
Yeah, your whole army when it was laid out, I was like, oh, that's 2,000 points. And I felt like I had so many things. I had like all of the units everywhere just for 2K.
Yeah.
And that was dumping into the Reaver jet bikes. Those are a little pricey. And I just dumped them in there. And the only reason I did that is because I had to change my list because I left all my Raiders at home. Because my first list had 60 caliber warriors.
Dang.
And 6 Raiders.
Tyler is asking a question about if we know about the next 3 codexes. I don't know if you guys want to touch on that at all. I do know that it's going to be Death Watch, Knights,
and Harlequins.
Harlequins.
Yep.
I do know that for sure. When they're coming out, we've been hearing a lot of rumors. I've personally been hearing a lot of rumors for a while. But
so my main thing is, so when they drop the Knight Codex, they drop that new Knight that's coming out, and that thing, I'm wondering how many shots that is going to have, because I mean, did you see how many weapons that thing has?
Yeah, you're talking about. So I was kind of looking, and I was kind of cracking a joke with some guys, and they kind of laughed, but they kind of started thinking that maybe this is exactly what GW wanted to do. You have the normal knights like the warden and stuff like that. Those could be like your HQ choices or choices. These armor glaives could be their troop choices.
Yeah.
That big knight could very well be a heavy knight. That could be a heavy support choice, where now knights will essentially can fill the same compulsory options for battalions and stuff like that as other codexes. Are they going to do that? I don't know, but it's a possibility.
Well, they can do it now because you can't mix it. You know what I mean? With that beta rule, you can't now put that heavy choice in a different Imperial heavy choice. because that would be really OP. I think that's that mixture that they're taking away from the formations.
I mean, you can, well, AdMech you'll be able to do that though.
Oh, they have the name AdMech.
Yeah, they have Adeptus Mechanicus and they have Quester. Yeah, so that's so AdMech will be able to do it, but that's one of the few ones. I mean, the rest of them you're going to have to take a super heavy detachment, or you can't even add on Lord of War because it's going to be a different one. So I mean, yeah, so AdMech's going to be able to do it because when they release Forgebane, they already have that little thing in there, so you can add it to your AdMech army right now, and the AdMech book already has the knights in there. So I wonder if in the Knight Codex you're gonna have a data sheet for that new knight to be able to take it with AdMech.
Probably.
So that's going to be interesting because I mean, I want that for my AdMech army.
Well, I mean, okay, so you're looking at Harlequins, you're looking at Knights, you're looking at Death Watch. But because they just released 3 Xenoses all back to back to back with the Drukhari, the Tau, and the Necrons. And now the Drukhari is done, I imagine we'll probably see another codex probably coming out maybe May, I would imagine.
Oh yeah. They're doing the Deepkin stuff right now.
And I think that's the reason why we're not seeing them in April.
Yeah.
Because of the Deepkin.
Yep.
But we might see them in May because you're talking, take those 3 off the list, that leaves you with Space Wolf, Genestealer Colts, Orcs, and then Sisters. Hey, I don't think Sisters will come out until the Plastic Sisters come out, I would imagine.
Christmas.
Or Christmas time, where it's, because they're not talking the Plastic Sisters are coming out till 2019.
I think with the leaks we've seen on White Dwarf with the Orcs, with that big gigantic monstrosity, I think we're definitely seeing the summer campaign with, my guess is Space Wolves drop in Orcs and Lionel Johnson comes back. I mean, not Lionel Johnson, but Lehman Russ comes back. That'd be my guess.
But the thing is haven't they been showing images of like lion heads and stuff like that? I mean, that could kind of lead you to believe that they might do like a Lionel Johnson and a Dark Angel revamp. Yeah,
it could be. Maybe, or maybe Grey Knight's Primarch comes back, so Grey Knights get some cool new rules. That'd be awesome.
Grey Knight Primarch. Closest thing you would have would be Nathaniel Garro, but he's been dead for eons. So.
Yeah, I know. That would be.
Yeah, but you take those 3 out of the list that's remaining.
Yeah.
The next 3 I could see being a Genestealer Colt, Space Wolf, and Orcs.
Yeah. I see Genestealer, Space Wolves, and Orcs. And then after that, they got to do a World Eaters Codex, right?
Yeah. I'm not, as much as I'm hoping for that, I don't think that's gonna.
Yeah, I mean that'd be cool. Like World Eaters, that'd be awesome, and Angron comes back. Yeah, that'd be super spectacular.
But you know what though? It's funny you say that because I could actually see them doing that because Thousand Sons got Magnus, they got their own codex.
Yeah.
Death Guard got Mortarion, they have their own codex.
Yeah.
I could see them, but my argument with that is World Eaters are not a whole faction like Death Guard are, like Thousand Sons are, like the Emperor's Children still are. The World Eaters are splits. The only way they gotta do it is they come up with some new fluff where Angron rallies all the World Eaters and calls them to war, and then they become an actual legitimate army again. Because right now, they even say it currently, they're all a bunch of just roaming war bands. And the only time they come together is when Angron leads them into battle. So they have to do something with that.
Well, they did have a codex in 7th edition called Khorne Demonkin. So they should bring that back at least.
But that's not really World Eaters.
I know, but still, it's at least it's kind of along the same lines where you can build a full World Eaters army how you think it would be run like a Death Guard army now. So I don't know, but I hope we do see that, and then the Emperor's Children. That'd be awesome.
I think I would love to see at least the main gods represented in their own codexes, and then the Undivided, be the actual Chaos Space Marines. I like what they did with Thousand Sons.
Yeah.
Are they a super overpowered army? No. Are they probably too many points? Yes. That's why you're not seeing them being played on the regular.
Yeah.
Death Guard. I think Death Guard. They have a good template there, but some of the things were over points, some were under points. I could totally see that would be, that one needs some refinement to it. And they did a little bit with the whole rule of 3, when everyone taking
First
Oh,
crawlers.
yeah, those. You know, for Emperor's Children, I think what they have in the current codex is nice.
Yeah.
But I think it's underwhelming. And the only reason why people take them is really they're only taking because they have obliterators with the Mark of Slanish to use the stratagem that goes with the obliterators.
Yep.
So that to me is kind of like, as being a more fluff player, I think that obliterators with Slanish doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, it's more. When I think of World Eater, I mean, when I think of obliterators, my mind goes straight to Iron Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
So you're thinking like Chaos Undivided. So I mean, like it kind of then you utilize the Slaanesh for the ability on the tabletop. But like if you play like a full Iron Warriors army and you have a Blitz, I'd be like, oh yeah, that's totally golden. You know, I mean, I think in third edition is when the obliterators first came out, and you'd see them in Iron Warriors armies, and you're like, totally makes sense. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you could bring 9 of them or something like that when you had an Iron Warriors army, though. They had like some special rule with Iron Warriors.
You could bring more of them in Iron Warriors back in third edition.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there was a special rule. I remember back before, like, you know, you had all the different formations and stuff like that. When you just had the minimum 1 HQ and 2 troops as a minimum, and then you can only have 3, 6, 3, 3, 2 HQs.
Yep.
I remember you could sacrifice 2 fast attack to plug another heavy support for Iron Warriors. To me, that made perfect sense. It totally went with the whole concept. We don't care about mobility. We're just going to bomb you from far away.
Yeah.
Now it's, you know, now with all the different things you could do with Spearhead, the Vanguard, you could still do that, which I do like about that. But I think, like, you know, like certain marks on certain units, to me, personally, to me, just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Unless you're playing someone like Iron Warriors, where the Slaanesh Marines got corrupted and they've turned into obliterators. They're shunned by the Emperor's Children because we're fast, we're perfect. That's not perfect. Get out of here.
Yep.
And then they join Iron Warriors. Totally makes sense to me. So it's just different mindset. And I guess that's a mindset for me being a 30K player.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's true. It's true. I like David also brought up something. I think we will see he calls them Imperial Agents, but I think we'll see an Inquisition Codex come out.
I think because
cool.
Eisenhorn did so well for sales.
Yep.
I could totally see them realizing that they have a small market, and it's not really that small because they sold out everywhere.
Yep.
I could see them doing an Inquisition, and in Inquisition, that's where you're going to have Inquisitors. I can see Imperial Agents being in there. I think someone made a comment about that as far as Imperial Agents.
Yep.
David. Yeah, I completely agree. Imperial Agents could very well be a thing, and I think it could easily wrap that into one army list that has access to, the assassins, that has access to Inquisitors, to the inquisitorial henchmen.
Yeah, and your troops are going to be like either plastic arbites or stormtroopers, that kind of thing.
Yep.
Or just normal guardsmen, and then they'd have use of some of the guard stuff, I think. But I think then you can see all like the demon host and all the other stuff that they do for the, what is that, Ordos Malus, right? Is that Malus?
Yep.
And then you'd have, so I mean, I think in the Sisters of Battle Codex we'll see the Orders Heretics. I think mostly in the Sisters of Battle Codex. I think we'll see a lot of that in there. But I think the demon one and then the other one, what's Ordos Malus, Xenos? Xenos. I think we'll see maybe some stuff in the Xenos one if they did like an Inquisition Codex. But I don't know. I just think it'd be cool to kind of have that kind of codex come out, especially for Inquisitions, because Inquisitions was always a fun army to see on the battlefield and people play it. So I think it threw just a whole new wrinkle in like the Imperium in general. So I think we could see something like that, which would be cool.
Agreed. And I know Colonel 26 is talking about Space Wolves, and he's excited about Space Wolves. And I think there is a lot of players out there that are super excited to see what they're going to do with Space Wolves.
Yeah.
I'm included. I have a 13th company army that I can use as Undivided, or I can use as Space Wolves. So yeah, they've been sitting in the case, in the shelf, right over there, just waiting to see what's going to come out with them. I think a lot of people are anxious for that. Because
the sad part is like Wrath of Magnus came out, right? And then almost immediately they went into the End of Times, and then 8th edition dropped. So like all those all those really cool formations and everything they had in Wrath of Magnus for Space Wolves and all that other stuff just kind of got thrown underneath the bus because all the great grand companies had all their cool stuff and everything. So I think if they do Space Wolves and they do it up like that, where you get to pick your grand company, and that'd be so cool if you have all the great companies, and then like each one you pick is kind of like the Coven's rule for like Dark Angels. They give your thing just a little bit different. Like Ragnar Blackbane's is maybe they get a +1 extra attack for Blood Claws or something, or and then like Logan's is like, oh, Wolfguard or elite choices actually count as troop choices since it's Logan's company, and then like, was it Bran Redmont? Did he die? I don't remember if he died. Did he die?
I don't think so.
Because he's the guy with the jump packs, right? Or was that Flynn Bloodclaw?
Flynn Bloodclaw was the one with the jump pack.
I think he died though. I'm not sure. I know one of them died. I forgot which one it was. Because Bran Redmaw is the guy with all the wolf in his company.
Yes.
Yeah, but no, I think it's Finn something, and I think he died in the Wrath of Magnus. I think he did, but I don't remember off the top of my head. I know one of them did, but like for him, like then the Blood Claw fast attack troops with jump packs would be like troop choices or something, So there'd be a lot of different kind of fluff things depending on what character you pick. So I think that'd be really cool, and then there'll probably be some guy in the back for a Lord of War choice for them or something. Would be my guess when Space Wolves come out. I think when Space Wolves come out, I think we'll definitely see Leman or us come out. There's no way. So
yeah, they're gonna do just like they do with Dark Angels, just like they did with the Drukhari. They're gonna have their chapters. Essentially, their 12 seats, 11 seats if you don't want to count 13th Company, will be their chapter tactics. Essentially, there will be their little perk, like you see in the Space Marine Codex. You have the Salamanders, you have the Imperial Fist, you have all those, and just like in the Chaos, you have the World Eaters, Emperor's Children. They have those special rules. Space Wolves, that'll be no different. They'll do the same thing. So you'll have the different chapters essentially within the Space Wolves that will be their special rules.
Yeah. Yeah. I know they're going to get Primaris, so that's going to be very interesting to see how they work in the Primaris into that.
Yeah, I'm John Owens unfortunately wasn't able to make it with us today. He's doing a Death Watch army, but he's using Primaris Death Watch.
Uh-huh.
And I play Death Watch, but I'm using normal Death Watch because to me, Death Watch won't have Primaris right away. I think it'll be something that'll come later. And
yeah,
Space Wolves are kind of one of those things that's like I could see Gilliam walking up and talking to Logan and just having a conversation. Well, we're going to give you these, and like, well, we don't want those guys. We're awesome without them. We don't need them.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be interesting for the conversation between the two of them.
That would be cool. David just brought up that if Space Wolves could take the Leman Russ Exterminators again, that'd be brutal. Huh. Can you imagine a Leman Russ Exterminator hitting on 3s and then having Logan Grimnar behind it, like re-rolling every single thing?
Oh, man.
Oh, my God. Think about the amount of firepower that thing could lay down.
Sometimes I miss those old ones where you could do that, where Iron Warriors could take Basilisks and Space Wolves could take Leman Russes. I thought that was a cool little thing because it's like it's named after him. Why wouldn't they utilize them? So
yeah, that would be so cool. Oh God, man, yeah. I'm so looking forward to like what we're going to see this summer. I think with the release of the next 3 codexes, and then GW's got to be doing the summer campaign. They got to be dropping something big during the summer. I just don't know how they kept it under wraps for this long, though, to be honest with you.
The thing is the next codex to drop is May, so unless they do something in July, and July would be like because I don't think they're going to do any sort of campaign with Death Watch, Imperial Knights, and Harlequins because it just doesn't. I don't see a storyline that they could develop between those 3. It's like Death Watch is going after Harlequins.
Well, they had the first box set with them too in it, so it may be that way.
I suppose so. I feel like I could see more of like a Space Wolf orc because if you remember, I think it was 5th edition. There was a Space Wolf on the cover that was fighting down the orcs.
Yeah,
I could see that. I could see that being a summer campaign. The Green Tide roars its ugly head and is heading straight for Fenris.
Yeah, I think you're right on that one too. It's just I think when it really comes down to it, though, I think we're going to see those 3 codexes drop in May. I think it'll almost be like back-to-back releases, kind of like they did with because I mean, when you think about it, they released Tau, Necrons, and Drukhari within about a 4 or 5 week span.
Yeah.
So I could see him definitely doing that again, like in May, like May 3rd, the new maybe I think maybe they won't set off with Imperial Knights. Maybe Death Watch comes out, and then like 2 weeks later you have Harlequins, and then after that, the big end of the month release may be the new the Knights with the new model, and a box set for Armigers or the Warglaves, Armiger Warglaves. So
now, of course, this is all speculation. This is our assumptions. We don't, we don't have like any insight to that. I mean, as much as I wish we did, but I mean, you have to kind of look at the trends that we've been seeing. I think that very well could be May 3rd be a pre-order for one of the 3 codexes.
Yeah, and they'll definitely have, I think, new starter boxes for each one, because they've done that with all the other ones as they release new starter boxes. So that'll be something you can pick up at your local game store, Atomic Hobby Shop.
I think my biggest part that would make me mad is I think about the new Death Watch box set after I just bought a Death Watch Star Collecting box set.
Yeah.
That would be rough.
I don't know what else. I mean, I'm kind of curious on what they would actually put in there. I mean, I think they'd have Artemis. I think Artemis is kind of a cool model. And then they'd have a unit of Death Watch Marines, 10-man squad. And then.
Well, right now they have Artemis, 10-man squad, and then
Venerable Dreadnought. Yeah. So maybe they just keep that.
Yeah, and then that would be good for me, because then I'm like, won't get mad at myself for buying the box set, before the codexes.
I mean, because they can just repackage that, and then they'll put in a new instruction set in there with the new rules for 8th edition, because all the boxes have the new 8th edition rules now. They just don't have point values, so they could do that. And then Harlequin's easy box set. You get a couple. You get one of the HQ type guys, and then you get a troop, and then probably like a Void Reaver. I mean, the little maybe get 2 of the guys. They look like they're riding on Vipers or Venoms. I don't know what those are called, but there's 2 of them. There's one guy hanging on the back. So, and then I don't think Imperial Knights will get a start collecting box set. It'll be a pick up your own Imperial Knights for $140. There's your start collecting box set.
Yeah. Based off of some of the stuff I've read, I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of mix up a little bit where they do Knights first. That way, they get that new Knight out there, and they can really kind of get the bankroll rolling with that.
Yeah,
and it's really just a way that the Warhammer community, on their website, Warhammer community is talking. If they go based off the way their system is currently, listing them out, they'll do Knights, then Harlequins, then Death Watch. I could see them going, because their community page is already talking about that. I could see them continuing the same path.
Yeah.
And then Death Watch will be after the Harlequins, because Death Watch is kind of, going after the Xenos. So it kind of makes sense in that regards.
Yeah. But no. Yeah.
I know our primary focus is 40K, but guys, the Deepkin models, the amount of conversions opportunity, at least just for Drukhari, and I'm sure some other stuff, is just absolutely amazing.
I think
I'm excited for the models.
Just about anything from there and turn it into Drukhari, and maybe even do some additional conversions. Let's take a little step further and do some Eldar conversions with some of the models.
Yep.
The Reavers are those to me just scream Drukhari, like all the way.
Yeah,
they do.
But they're so good looking, really good looking.
They are absolutely amazing.
I like the giant turtle.
I mean, did you see that on the community page, or the Sigmar page? They posted the size comparison. Did y'all see that? Did y'all see that picture?
Yeah.
It was funny. It was like they had the troop, and then they had the guy riding looked like an eel, and then they went all to the turtle, and then at the front they had like helpless victim.
Yeah.
Guy running. Ah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could see Lotan, I think is his name, the Warden of the Soul Ledgers.
Yeah.
I could see him. That could be a fun model. Oh my god! And then the shipwreck, turn the shipwreck into like a transport and do like an undead Dark Eldar or Drukhari. Oh man, that could be fun.
You know, it looks like it's about the same size as like what a Reaver. What a Ravager is. You know,
maybe a Tantalus. They're actually they're like 11 inches. They're big.
Oh, they are. Okay.
Yeah, they're really big. Because we only got one in on our order. We're supposed to get two because we're using one for the shop. Because they're just such a cool model. We're like, so good.
You know what you could do is buy one model, and because it's in two pieces, convert it up to be the front half and the back half, and then arm them and convert them into Drukhari, and those be Ravagers. Because instead of it being more of a Tantalus, you divide it in two. Now you're a little bit more on a Ravager scale. You just do some crazy cool conversions and basically make an army of undead Drukhari. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. Okay. Because technically they're kind of undead, right? I mean,
yeah.
As long as they keep causing pain, they can keep living. And then when they stop doing it, they start turning into their husks and stuff and die.
Yeah, that model's just so good.
I know.
That shipwreck is awesome. I think that's a really great piece of terrain just to have.
Yep. Then Tyler said that tsunami cloak is great. Do that cloak just for that model alone. I was just like, that looks so fun to paint. And plus, I've never painted water like that before, so it'd be like a nice, fun new challenge to keep painting all the underwater stuff.
Oh yeah.
Is that is it Eidolon or something like that? Yeah, that's a good looking model.
He's big too. That's a beautiful model. He comes in a big box.
I guess it's hard. The one thing I'm not a fan of is I hate when they do such a huge diorama and then you have like this little bitty guy on top. It's just like, I mean, it's growing me around. The cloak is great. I just feel like the guy himself should just be more like, I don't know, bigger. I mean, I understand it. It's kind of like almost like a demon prince as far as stature, right? I mean,
no, he's bigger. He's a lot taller.
Height for sure, but I want to say his base size is about the same size as Demon Prince.
I think so.
The guy himself is just so like small and frail. It's just kind of like.
I think they keep up with the theme though, with like the Age of Sigmar kind of stuff. Is if fantasy's small, they're not super like pumped up, genetically altered superhumans. So they're like these extravagant magical beings, like. So that's why their cloak is this massive wave behind it, stuff like that.
I guess that makes sense. So they have like they're grandiose, basically signifying their power, not necessarily their stature.
Correct. Yeah, that's how I always look at it. Because even like think of the guys that ride these ginormous beasts. Even them, they're kind of small. They're not super huge, and their beasts are massive. That just shows that this small guy was able to tame such a massive monstrosity and control it. I think that's how they differentiate between Age of Sigmar and 40K, because you got two different sides of the street, and I think that they focus a lot on like that magical creature-esque, keep it fantasy. I think they do a good job on that.
Yep. That is true. I mean, like, to be honest with you, like, I actually now want to start playing Age of Sigmar. I do have, I want to get the Blades of Corn book. I just need to pick up that and the new. I have the old General's Handbook, but I need to get the new General's Handbook, and then I want to get the Roar Scrolls. And which brings me to my next point is, I was looking at the Deepkin, and they have War Scrolls. Why hasn't GW done that for 40K? I mean, to have every single data card in like a box, and you just pull them out and put them on the table, and you're kind of like, oh yeah, this does this, and instead of flipping through codexes. I mean, that would be so. I mean, like, that would be so make it so much easier to play because you're not standing there flipping through everything. You have like, oh, this is my Exarch here, or whatever. This is my troop choice and everything. All the data cards are laid out, and you're just looking at them. And you're like, oh yeah, hits on threes. Okay, blah blah blah. And instead, you're not flipping through a codex or scrolling through Battle Tome or whatever, to try to be like, oh, was it a 12-inch range or was it blah, blah, blah? And you kind of forget. So, I mean, why can't they just do that? Just make like a War Scroll card. I mean, it's $25.
Dude, I would get $25 in a heartbeat to get that. Just to lay out your army on these little small cards. I'd be like, I'm done. Like lay them out. I just quick look. Okay, that's what I got. Because how many times have we been paged through a codex? How many times have your battle scribe that you had on your phone closed, and then it started at the top, and then you're scrolling through because you have three different formations, and you're just like, where are you at? Trying to find that one gun.
It's another thing that people, using that, especially since a lot of people play in a tournament atmosphere, it takes away the possibility that that rule doesn't do that because the rule is spelled out right there on that card.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say at LVO, they had a situation where a player, he lost a match because someone thought the rule meant this and he didn't question him. But to have that card on the table, it makes it easier for your opponent. It's like, well, can I go ahead and see that card, please? Okay, well, this is my interpretation of this card. What's your interpretation? Okay, you interpret that. Okay, well, we disagree. Let's get a judge over here. So in that regards, $50. I'm down. $50. I'd even spend $50. I'd spend quite a bit to have those easily at my disposal to go ahead and. So if people question it, because people do question them, people do forget. I mean, it's only human nature. You can't memorize everything, especially myself as a TO, John Owens as a TO. We can't memorize every single rule in all of these codexes. We just can't do it. So for us, it's okay. We have a question. Let's see the rules. I'm going to interpret the best of my ability. And if we still don't agree, then the best way to do it from there is just to roll off. Whoever wins, that's the rule we go with. No. But if I look at it and I say, no, I definitely agree with it's with him. This is the way I interpret it, and this is my evidence for it is right here on page 52. Then that's the law. But to have the cards on table, it takes away that because sometimes people don't want to ask that question. They don't want to ask what does the rule say because then you have, okay, hold on, wait, me. According to this, I can move 12 inches. Okay, well here's my book. People don't want to do that because it slows the game down, and everyone knows they're under that time constraint. 2.5 hours, bam, that your turn's over. And especially with the way ITC is going, 2.5 hours, that's it, game's over, done. Dice down, you're finished. So doing that makes it more difficult.
Yeah, it's how much we normally go with gamers agree that if you tell me something, I trust what you tell me, and we're going to go with that, But at the same time, the data cards, I mean, you just pop that out and you're like, oh, here it is. And you're like, hey, can I see the data card real quick? And it's no big thing. It's not like you're flashing back a codex. You're looking and be like, oh, that is so cool. I didn't know they could do that. Awesome. Cool. Go ahead.
Yep, exactly. I think that would be a wise thing for maybe GW to look at is maybe putting these these rules or war scrolls, but obviously it'd be data sheets on little cards that are in a little stack. So you're going through it and this is my army, bam, 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 bam. Okay, here's my cards for this army. You have a question, you have an issue. Here's my card. Here's my card. Here's my card. So
I know with all the new box sets, they come with the instructions and they do have the data cards in the back now, but at the same time, it's kind of like, it's nice. Those are cool, but you'd print them out or whatever, It's nice to have those war scrolls, because they're hard. They're the hard kind of laminated, really, really good quality paper. So it's not going to get bent up or anything like that. So it's just one of the things. I really wish GW would do that. That would be. They'd make a killing on it. I mean, seriously, everyone would be like, oh yeah. So I will pick up, like, you're going to buy your codex. You're like, I'll spend $40 on the codex. I need my data cards, my tactical objective cards. That's another 15. Oh yeah, give me that too. And just give me the war scroll card too. It's just like, that's the army I play. I want all three.
Yeah. I mean, it's synonymous. Every time you buy a codex, you always get your cards. I mean, there's no think about getting the cards. You always just get the cards because they're also as well convenient. But having them for your troop choice, and like you're saying, like at a big tournament, sometimes you get the, oh, it's on my list I gave you. You know what I mean? And then you start getting that little hostility because those guys getting irritated. And they're like, well, just look at my list. And then now you're paging through their list that was written in Word and it's not even organized. And you're like, and yeah, I hate that. I'm like, oh, here's your list. Like every time, literally out of all the 5 games I played at LVO, for example, they hand me their list. I was like, cool. And then I handed it back. I said, if I got questions, I'll ask later.
Yeah, and what makes it difficult is they start getting frustrated, and then they start becoming more agitated towards you, and then now they're going to start questioning everything you're saying. And to your point, if you get a list and you're looking at it, the rules are not going to be on that list. They'll tell you what the rules are, but then you still got to go back to the trusty codex to look at said rule, and then you have to process said rule, make sure you interpret said rule, and now you've slowed them down, and they might have lost 5 minutes of their time, and now they feel like they're not going to get their full turn in, and I just feel like it becomes a very big issue that it could be settled with just having these cards.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, building your army too, you can lay them out and you can look at them and start paging through back and forth. Because like you said, you have that codex next to your bed. Well, so do I. And I'll sit there lay with my lamp on, and I keep paging through. I'll have my battle scribe up, like I keep looking. And like even having it where, especially with Drukhari being a little more difficult with all the different cabals and all the other stuff, maybe having each card for each cabal. You know what I mean? So you can even create your little cards, put it with the cabal. Same thing for this one. You know what I mean? I'd be stoked.
And I think that's actually a good idea. I think when Death Watch comes out and I get an official codex, I think making these cards even in my free time on Excel, printing them out and then cutting them and then putting them in pocket sleeves to have on a table. So if people ask a question, I don't have to go to the Death Watch codex, or I don't have to go to the Drukhari codex, or if I was playing Age of Sigmar, the Deepkin, I just give them the cards. This is what I created, and I took this verbatim from the codex. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. If you want to see these, have a look at them. But I took them word for word out of said codex, and here they are.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying anybody could do that now and probably make a killing off that, because GW probably shut that down quick. But maybe if they saw that people are interested in that, and they started writing them, hey, is this a possibility for 40K, just to streamline things at the tabletop? Maybe they'll consider it.
Yep. Yeah. But yeah, War Scrolls would be so cool. God. And I don't want to like Belantis, I don't know how to say that name, but he said, he buys the PDFs, and so on the PDFs he just prints them out, which is very cool. But I don't know. I just like those cool cards. They're so cool. But it's like I bought the GW had for chapter approved, they had the Warlord edition, right? And it had the cards in there for all the different missions. So you just get all these new cards for all the missions, and you just so when me and Jonathan were playing, what were we doing? I pulled all the cards out, and you pick one, and there's our mission card. It just instead of rolling a dice and then flipping back in the codex, and you're fixing back in the rulebook, you're like, oh, that's this one, just lay it out on the table. We're both reading over, going, okay, cool, I know how to play this mission, and just go from there. So it helps. It helps gameplay. It helps. It makes it organized quicker and makes it run faster. So
well, I think it also helps newer players.
Oh yeah.
Because if myself and TJ and Jonathan, you guys have been playing a long time, but we're not always going to play against people that have been playing this game for 10 years, 15 years. For someone that's new and they don't necessarily know the mission, you got to take your codex, your rule book out, and you hand it to them, turn it around, give it to them. Here's the pages that we're doing. They got to read it. But having a card, okay, bam, okay, our mission is this right here. You want to see it here? It's GW made this, and it's just simplified. This is the breakdown. This is what we got to do. Bam, 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 done. Here it is. I think it's just going to help new players out. You get the game started a little bit faster, because when new players are going to be slower, and then you can coach them and help them, because the hobby is not going to grow. And I'm a firm believer of this. The hobby will not grow if we don't get new players in. The new players are really what drive it, because some of us that have had armies for eons, we're not really buying for the new army unless the new codex comes out. But if you get a new player in there, they're spending the $300, $400, $500, $800 to start it. That's paying GW to keep going. So we need the new players, and I think that would help out a lot, just make things a little bit easier for them.
Yep, that is true. Yeah, but when you talk about us as the older vets, we usually buy the new codexes, we buy all the new changes, And then if there's some new models out, we'll buy those. But I mean, like if, like, you know, in all these, like I bought a lot of Adeptus Custodes, but that's because I always wanted to play Adeptus Custodes ever since I first read the fluff, and I saw one of the first pictures in the 3rd edition rulebook with the Adeptus Custodes standing in front of, you know, like the Emperor's the Golden Throne. I was like, what are those? And then you're like, those are Adeptus Custodes, and I was like, oh, when are they ever going to be in 40K? And then, you know, they started dropping in 30K, and I was like, oh, are they ever going to be? And then they came out in 40K, and I'm just like, yeah, as soon as they get more models that aren't Forge World, I will buy them. Because I mean, for us, I mean, it's a little harder for me to stomach buying Forge World stuff when, like, I have so much other stuff, you know, or like I can go and pick up some stuff. So
you mean like an entire Warhound Titan that's still not built?
wow, really, you had to bring that up, huh?
Yeah. But
do we have to go start with your unbuilt stuff, Jonathan, or unpainted? Sorry, I know most of your crap's built, but it's still unpainted. It's just sitting there. It's just as bad as being in a box.
That's true.
And the guys in the chat, they are right. I mean, the problem with FAQs and revolving FAQs is they would eventually, the cards would become null and void. You have to buy new cards. And I think some people would be agitated by having to buy, you know, a new cards for their army every 6 months. And then it would be a question of, do you have the most current cards or do you have the older cards?
Yeah.
You know, so I could definitely see the point in that for sure.
Or even if GW wanted to do like a PDF version to where that PDF would be updated, you can, like, on the Black Library, you buy it through there, and then you just download new cards and reprint them out.
Yeah.
Or
$20 on that.
Or you just buy the app and you can go into the app and there they are right there.
Yeah, true. Yeah, it's just, I just think when the FAQs, they really haven't changed the stat line on anything. You know what I mean? They've mainly been changing point values, and there's been some equipment changes, which aren't really that big to me, I don't think. You know, the equipment stuff was like, really, why can't my veteran sergeant take a power sword or something? You know, it's like, it's been kind of minor changes, but really the main stuff in the FAQ has been rules clarifications as well as point value changes. The data cards really haven't changed much. So
no, I wouldn't say most of it has been. I mean, I want to say by far and large the biggest change has been point values. I think just about everything got a point value increase. I don't think anything really got a point reduction. I could be wrong. There might be a couple units that did, but you know, Reapers went up 7 points. Fire Raptors went up, I think, almost 90 points. Scorpiuses went up in points, I believe. Gilliam went up in points. But it's all mostly points, and then rule clarification with the FAQs as far as people asking questions, and then the beta rules. I mean, I think that's been the biggest. But again, that wouldn't really affect the card rules per se. So I don't know. I mean, that's kind of a gray area. But yeah, I think David was saying that having the iBook version, it auto updates with the new changes. Yeah, I mean, I'm a throwback. I personally prefer the hardback because having a tablet's nice, and I do have almost all of my codexes on PDF. But to be able to sit at a desk somewhere and just put out a book and read, to me, is just way better than pulling out a tablet and reading on a tablet. That's just my personal belief.
Yeah, I'm old. I like the book. Give me the book.
I'm old as you guys, but I still like my book.
Yeah. See, that's my thing. You know, I wish I could show you. I have all my codex are stacked up over here because I might read Drukhari today, but then tomorrow I might read, you know, index number 1 and kind of go through it. Or I might read Chaos Space Marines, even though I have a tattoo of Chaos Space Marines on my arm. I'll still read the codex and kind of peruse it and come up with other ideas and craziness. So it's just.
I didn't know you have a Chaos tattoo.
I do. I actually have a skull right here, and then in the middle of the skull is the corn logo embedded in his head.
What? Let me see.
I don't know if y'all can see that or not.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Needs to be cleaned up. I got that, I don't know, almost 15 years ago. But, yep, I am an avid Chaos player. I am always a Chaos player, and I will always be a Chaos player.
I've got a Slanesh symbol on my butt, but I'm not going to show you all that. I'm just joking.
Appreciate that.
You don't want to know where the center part of the symbol is.
Ooh, yeah. I don't want to know where you put that symbol. No, yeah, no. As far as Drukhari go, I think Drukhari is going to be a good codex. I really do. I think it'll be a good one for a while. It's just going to be hard for people to play because it's going to be that proverbial glass cannon.
Yeah. And that's what I go back to. I like the challenge. It brings. It's not a I win button. It's not a super tough. It's you gotta get good. You want to win with them. You gotta get good with them. And yeah, they may lose to other things that the person didn't play as well, but you still feel good because you played it well. So.
And I think the more games, Jonathan, you play with them, I think you're going to start seeing a trend. When I had my Dark Eldar, and before it became Drukhari, I ran 3 units of Scourges. 2 that deep strike on their opponent's side, and then I had 1 that step back and shoot. They might not be the best viable option anymore to do that. I think there's the Cabals. I think the Witch Cults. I think those are all so well written now. You don't need those Scourges to do that. I think just now the basic Cabals and the basic Witches can do that.
Yeah.
I wish I still miss. I know you can do them through Index. I do miss the Trueborn and the Bloodbrides.
And the Bloodbrides, yeah.
I do miss those. I know you can still use them with the Index, but eventually when the indexes are gone, because everyone knows they will eventually be gone, you're going to lose those. And I think that's something that's kind of lacking. I do like Trueborn. I've always been a fan of Trueborn. I didn't always necessarily run blasters with my Trueborn. I did have shredders in my Trueborn just for that multiple shots everywhere. They're all dead. So that's going to be a sad day, but
I know. I used to put the 5 Trueborn, and you can put 1 Dark Lance. Stick that in the Venom. just have a guy just making pop shots in the back.
Yep.
So yeah, the Vinlandstus in the chat, he says, I don't understand why battalions went up for command points, but the 3 patrol for the Drukhari did not, which is a little funny because you bring those 3 patrols, but that's it for match play. Congrats, you got 3 patrols.
I've been thinking about this, and I'm not going to be surprised when they start making exceptions to the rule. And I think Drukhari will be the exception. I think what they'll do is and this is just me thinking as a TO and how maybe like ITC are going to approach this. They can't hinder something that big that this codex is kind of important. It makes sense for them to have that. I think what they're going to eventually do is Dark Eldar will be able to take X number of patrols, but that's the limit. They can't take more. They can't take, so they'll have more than 3. So they might do what is it? I think you take 3 patrols to get a certain number of command points. That will be classified as 1 of the 3 that you can take max in a tournament. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I could see them doing something like that. Or if you take the 5 or 7 they have,
yeah,
that will be classified as 2 of the 3 max you can have. To me, that makes sense as a TO. I think I would allow that. Obviously, playing in something like Alamo where it's ITC driven, or LVO, it's ITC driven, we have to wait for them to come out with it. But I think I would be okay with, the patrol, but you have to take the patrol number that's in the codex, and the smaller number counts as 1 of your 3. So you can have 3 patrols and then 2 battalions, or 1 patrol, or 3 patrols to make up your 1, a battalion, a spearhead. To me, I feel that I could see them allowing that as 3 for purposes of your 3 detachments.
Well, the good thing about Drukhari is because how the points are, I almost feel like you can fit 3 battalions. You can even mix it up with adding the Witches, a Cabal, and even a Homunculus kind of trifecta. That's 15, 18 command points right there.
Yep.
And then you do that with a Black Heart. One of the other things that we'd even that I'm going to end up finagling my list about is to actually take, I was reading where if you take the Black Heart unit and you put your Raiders in it, for example, and you bring in the Cabal with the tongue on the other stuff, you have to have enough units for that patrol, for example, the Black Heart, to have each Raider, because you have to have one for each count. And then the great thing is its special rule says it counts the turn as being one higher for the power from pain. And it says if it doesn't have the power from pain special rule, it gets the first one, which is a 6-up Feel No Pain for the first turn. So you can literally give your Raiders, your Venoms, and even possibly your Flyers a 6-up Feel No Pain, because it gives them the power from pain. So it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, like I just pulled out the codex, and here it specifically says that 3 patrol detachments gives you 4 command points. You could do 3 patrols fairly easily, and you could still do 1 from Cabal, 1 from Witch, and then 1 from the Covens, and then still have a battalion, and then still have another battalion if you really wanted to. So you can totally mix match, and I think it's gonna be good and it'll be fun. It's gonna be different for sure.
I like the mix match because I feel like all of them help support each other's strengths and weaknesses, and you get a lot more support with it too. And then there's that one command trait, I think, for 1 command point where you can I think it's as long as the Archon is your warlord, you can choose a succubus and you can choose a homunculus to also be have warlord traits.
Alliance of Agony. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yep.
So I'm like that's really cool. That's
the number of command stratagems they have is just ridiculous.
I know. I was going through them and I was like, wait, there's another page?
Yeah, we're so used to codexes coming out, like even Tau. I think Tau's got 2 pages worth. Dark Elder's got 4 pages worth. Those 2, and then you turn the page, you get 2 more sets. It's like, whoa. So yeah, I just have a feeling ITC will probably look at that. I don't think 3 will be. I can see them doing 3 patrols turns into 1 of the max of 3, and then the 6 patrols will turn into 2 of your. And then you're really going to spend those points because you're going to have to take some scourges because it's going to be hard to fill out all those points because things are pretty cheap in the army because they're so fragile. So
yeah.
Yeah,
like I was saying, when TJ shot at them, I was picking up models pretty quickly. Whatever he kind of shot at was going down. I was like, oh well, that's all dead. Those bikes, they were falling. However, I was making some pretty good saves. So
yeah, and yeah, I mean, just the amount of possibilities Drukhari has is amazing. Like, it really is. I don't even know how to describe it. It was just amazing. Like, the stratagems, like, you have to be a good player to play Drukhari because, I mean, you keep track of all that stuff, you got to be good. Not for the weak-minded.
I think a lot of players, too, Jonathan would know, is when they're building a list, they're already having in mind what stratagems are you going to use because they're building their list for it because there's so many. Now they probably Jonathan probably looked at it too and probably was like, okay, I could definitely see this unit using this one, this one, this one.
Yeah.
Whenever he pulls his cards out, he probably already has his set on top. I have a feeling I'm gonna use this one, this one, this one. And if I have so many command points, I want to do something crazy. I'm gonna have this stack over here. I'm not gonna say use this stack because my army is focused on these.
Yeah.
Just in case, I'll use these.
Just in cases.
Yep. I even did that with my LVO list because of the differences of from the Noise Marines and the Obliterators and stuff like that, and all the Slanesh stuff. I had those all separated, and then I had some just in case on the side as well. So I wasn't fanning through a whole bunch of the stratagem cards and stuff. So
yeah, I noticed even when I play, I try to tend to organize the cards what I feel pretty confident I'm going to use on a regular basis, and then the rest of it I have it if I need to. And it's like, oh, well, you did something I wasn't expecting. Well, because of that, let me go ahead and go into these cards over here, this side.
Yep.
Let's try this one. But I think that's more of a player that kind of comes around and blindsides you with something you weren't expecting. Like, oh, yep, that stinks.
Makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, I usually do the same thing. I pick out my cards before. I got like 3 or 4 of them out. I know the ones that I really want to use. And then I have those occasional ones that I may use just in case. But before, yeah, I mean, didn't have a lot of command points. But now with that 5 command points and getting 8 command points, it allows me to utilize a little bit more. Because usually when I try to build an army, I try to build a battalion just because I want the command points. So
that 5 command points too is so good for on the receiving end for Drukhari with the stealing the command points, because like now you just give me so many more command points that I can use as well as my opponent, and I can just thief them. It's a good feeling to thief them.
They're asking about aggressors. I personally do not use any Primaris. I am a anti-Primaris player. For you guys, though, how would you guys equip aggressors for any particular Space Marine armies you guys play?
let's see here. Right now, God, for aggressors, but he was talking about Space Wolves. So for my army, I would give him the bolters and the missile launchers just because if I was going to play him, I play Imperial Fists, so I want the bolters, and then I want the missile launchers for that reason. But he's doing it for Space Wolves, so they're going to be up in your face kind of close. And so for me, I'd probably go, I think Darklighter and a couple other people said Flamers. So I'd probably go Flamers. Yeah, so like David said. Yeah, so I mean, for me, I think I would definitely go Flamers if you're doing Space Wolves. Just depends on what style or what you want them to do, too. So, I mean,
I don't know about you guys. When I build a list, I think of what I want that I'm taking this unit. What is the purpose of that unit?
Yep.
Purpose of that unit is going to be in your face, then I'm going to build them and equip them as such. My current Death Watch list for Alamo, I have a unit of 5 Death Watch Marines, all with stalker guns. Probably not going to put them in a Rhino or a drop by. They're probably going to sit back in the back line, and they're going to hold the objective in my deployment zone, and then they're just going to shoot their 30 to 36 inch range weapons across the table.
Yep.
That's just me. I think of how I'm going to use them and what the purpose of them is. If you're going to be running aggressors and you plan on being in their face, I agree. I think Flamers are going to be the best way to go. Again, I'm kind of anti-Primaris, mainly because I don't play any other Space Marine armies except for Death Watch, and for me, it doesn't fit the army right now. Yep. When Primaris become more prevalent in the storyline, then yeah, I might start rolling them in. But right now, they're not for me.
Yeah. So for me, if I was going to use an aggressor squad, I would be utilizing as a support squad for firing and laying down a lot of heavy support, because the ability for them to you can advance and still shoot with them. So you're going to move up 5, roll your advance, average about a 3. So you're going to move up about 8 inches. And for me, the Autostorm gauntlets, it's assault 6. So that's pretty brutal. And then the frag store grenade launchers is assault D6 at 18 inches. So that's going to give you kind of a 26 inch, 24 inch range of what you're going to be shooting at. So I would utilize them more for that. But for Space Wolves or something else like that, I could see them, advancing up and flaming the crap out of people. So, I mean, it depends on what you want to go with it too, because Flamers you do the Autostorm bolt launchers and then the missile launchers, you're looking at way more points per model. So it kind of depends on what you want them to do too in your army. So, but I mean, like my Primaris, I've used them so far. I've only have 1 unit painted up. I have the jump guys with assault bolters, which got a whole lot better. And then I have the And then I have a unit of just normal Primaris that I use in my Dark Angels. And I use the normal Primaris as I give them the Stalker bolt rifles, and I have them sit back on objectives and shoot, try to put them in cover. And then so, I got a 2-up save and everything like that. So I use them for that. But as far as the assault bolt watchers, the assault bolters for the jump pack guys, they're so low on points now for getting 18 heavy bolter shots. And then with Imperial Fist, you drop them in and you use them, and then you reroll the ones for your and in ones you get an extra shot. So,
and referring to Tyler, he made a comment talking about he likes Primaris Marines. Don't get me wrong, I love the models. The models look great, and I think if those models would have been the norm for us, I wouldn't have a problem with them. I think and you're right as far as they're representing how tough Space Marines should be, especially based off storyline where you have, 10 guys that take on, a whole company of guard. And to me, yeah, they're exactly how they're supposed to be, how basic Space Marines should be. It shouldn't be a whole different stat line. But I do see GW eventually getting away from basic Space Marines in the 40K universe. I could see them going, Space Marines now will be basically Primaris Space Marines, and then there will not be much of an option for normal Space Marines.
Yeah.
I think they're going to save normal Space Marines for 30K because, they're not quite as evolved at that point. They just got done with the Thunder Warriors, and they started releasing the Space Marines. So I could totally see that being a thing in the future where we don't have normal Space Marines in the 40K universe.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know, Jonathan, you're not much of a Space Marine player, so I know you're kind of like, you guys talk about your dumb Space Marines.
Well, for me, I made the FNP Wargamers chapter, and they're just kind of sat there in their little box. I had a whole thing of Primaris Marines, and I actually donated them to Atomic Hobby Shop to create an army, a store army for people to utilize. So all my Primaris pretty much went to that. So
yeah, Primaris are good. Don't get me wrong. I do own some. I think someone made a comment about that earlier. I think it was Doug Z. He has some, but he never built them. I'm the same way. I have a whole box set, and I just have never assembled them, and I don't know if I ever will. Even when they Death Watch, I can now take them in a Death Watch army. I just don't see it. It's just not my style of play.
Yeah.
But hey, Primaris are great. They are a great army, and are they to the level of, say, Drukhari or Craft Worlds and Necrons? I don't think so.
No.
I think they'll do well, but I think in the end they're going to fall to those armies.
Yep. Yeah. No. Plus, I think there's units of Primaris that are good, and there's units that aren't good. I think aggressors are, like Reavers. Reavers, right? Are those the ones with the mask and they can come in, or are those Reavers? They're kind of like the scout version of them. For them, there's no really way to get them on the board where you really want them. I think to actually utilize because they have the grenades and stuff that actually give -1 to leadership and all this other stuff, but it's like an 8-inch range and you can only deep strike within 9 inches. So it's kind of like, I don't know, you kind of got to use them as another unit. So I just don't think those are very well thought out tactically. But for instance, the Captain and Gravis armor that comes in the Dark Imperium box set is, if you're running a normal Captain, I would run him because he's toughness 5, so which is already a big benefit. He turns out to be a pretty much of a beat stick because he's got a power fist or he's got a mastercrafted power sword, so it's 2 damage, or he's doing D3 damage or whatever or D6. I don't forget which one, but so he's kind of like a cheap way of getting a beat stick in your back lines as well as giving you the ability to reroll 1s and stuff for your vehicles and everything around them. But that's for normal Space Marines. But Dark Angels, you're going to see Hellblasters. If you don't see Hellblasters in a Dark Angels army, I don't know what you're doing, because that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Hellblasters are just extremely awesome when it comes to Primaris Marines. You know,
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing. I think some armies like Dark Angels, I think even Blood Angels benefited from having Primaris Marines and be able to take those in your army.
Yep.
Hellblasters are awesome. It's hard. Yeah, Darklighter just said it. It's hard to fit Hellblasters into a melee focused Blood Angels, but you can. I mean, does it make a whole lot of sense?
Yeah.
No, but really and truly, when you think about it, most people take that type of stuff in a tournament style list because they know what they're going to be fighting against.
Yeah.
You can't really think about how their fluff ways. You know, thinking of fluff is hard to run a list fluffy against some of these tournament lists because man, some of these lists are just they capitalize on so many things in most people's lists nowadays. So it just doesn't fit. Now on tabletop, they're great. Absolutely great. I played against a person with my Scions that had, 2 units of Hellblasters, some Custodes, and some Grey Knights. And to me, he told me, he was like, I just threw a list together. I'm like, for this being a list that's just thrown together, this isn't a very effective list to just be thrown together. So Hellblasters are still awesome. I mean, that's just one thing that people are going to have to recognize, and they're worth it.
I always end up, I think they're good initially, but I always feel like they always get shot off pretty quickly. The Hellblasters?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, because in a tournament, you're going to see Hellblasters, and then you're going to see the Standard Bearer with them.
Yeah.
I mean, because why wouldn't you put the Standard Bearer with them, It's one of those things, it's like, oh, they die. Shoot one more time before you die real quick, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of one of those things. You have a unit here, and you put the guy right there in the middle, so he gets the benefit to both units. And sure. Oh, look, you died.
Here, get back up and shoot one last time, my friend.
Yeah, you're not really dead just yet. Hold on.
And do they have overcharge? Yes.
Yep, might as well kill him off anyways. He's going to be overcharged.
That's what I was saying. The last shot you get, just overcharge it. What are you going to do? Die?
Oh, no.
Yeah, so I just but here's the thing, though. When we talk about Drukhari is going to be, they have enough shots coming out of them into Primaris. I think Primaris is going to struggle against them because of that reason. I mean, they're just going to get an overwhelming number of shots, and the guys are already so frail. So you're spending a whole bunch of points for Hellblasters, where the guys could be shot by normal bolters and die. So it's kind of like, thanks for spending those points, because now I'm just going to go ahead and, I lost some guys, but I'm still going to shoot you and you're going to die. So.
Oh, yeah.
Well, guys, it's about that time. We ran over 30 minutes extra because we had a lot of viewers, a lot of questions, lots of conversation. Ton of conversation, actually. That chat was going. So we appreciate everyone who participated. We love everyone who keeps the chat going as it just keeps scrolling. We try to answer your questions, everything best as we can. We do appreciate all our Patreon supporters who are also in chat. And, be sure if you guys like that live rough draft that we did last Saturday, we're going to start getting a little bit more of a permanent setup with get some better lighting in there. And so you can enjoy a lot more live games as well, including Age of Sigmar, Blood Bowl, and even Magic games as well. The studio is getting set up to be a completely live studio, which will be live on YouTube and Twitch. So be really exciting.
Yeah, and hopefully I'll be able to bring my Death Watch out and get some games in.
Oh, yeah.
Show my take on Death Watch, especially with the new codex that's going to be coming out. You can definitely see me try to get a game in with these guys.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys. Thank you so much for staying tuned. TJ, you got anything?
No, I just appreciate y'all watching. Yeah, I did like the live feed we did. Hopefully it'll be better next time. We'll get the cameras rearranged for the better quality one being where it needs to be. But other than that, yeah, I'm just, man, right now, sorry, I was working on, I forgot that, David brought up a good point that I need to get my my Alamo GT list turned in. So I was correcting my list to have what I know will be painted for Alamo GC, and then like if I have an extra week and I get these and I get the Dawn Eagle jet bikes done, and I have an extra week, I may be able to change up my list a little bit to get them done. So.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up. I got to get my list submitted too.
Yeah, so I just finished rewriting them with stuff that's not painted in them, but hopefully if it is painted, then those are the list I will bring to Alamo GT. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. And thanks. And you guys see you next Tuesday. Have a good night.
Yep. See y'all next Tuesday, guys.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, guys.